Hi everyone, my name is Anel, and I live in a house with a dumb sister named Chloe. It's not that she's dumb, that's a harsh way of putting it. It's just that sometimes it's like she doesn't get it or something. She is peculiar, lives in her own world, and often interferes with my world. Chloe is always pushing me around, and it pisses me off so much. Do you have any brothers or sisters like that? She and I don't have much of an age difference, and she's older than me, but I feel like I'm the older one. Chloe is still interested in dolls, loves obscure cartoons, plays in the yard with little kids, and she also has an obsession with getting into my room. I just hate that. But there's one thing that pisses me off more than anything else. She's always saying that she sees someone in our house, in my dad's office or our parents' bedroom. For example, we are sitting at home, we have guests. My mom's friends, our neighbors, they often come to see us. We are chatting, drinking tea, everything is fun and fine. Then Chloe comes up to me and pulls me away from the table. Oh man, again. Mom, tell her to leave me alone. Go with her, maybe she wants to tell you something. I'm sick of it. Anel, please. Okay. We go to the bathroom and Chloe says in my ear, I saw someone walking around. You're doing it again, I'm sick of you. Nobody cares about your ghosts. You're the only one who sees them. But there's someone out there. She started crying like a little baby, and she talked like a little girl too. Again, Chloe, it's not my problem. Deal with your spirits yourself. I walked out of the bathroom and slammed the door. Just then our neighbor, Aunt Gia, came out of the other bathroom on the way. Anel, is everything okay? It's just Chloe. What about her? She's talking about ghosts again. Should we take her to an exorcist? Come on, she's a little sick. Don't be condescending. She's your little sister. I'm tired of being condescending to her too. She just annoys me. What's up, Anel? Chloe's doing it again. Oh, sorry, ladies. Our oldest daughter is a little, how should I put it? Don't worry about it, Stella. It's okay, we get it. Ladies, maybe we should go. We're keeping Stella busy at home. The guests were very understanding. They never discussed Chloe or me, especially about Chloe with Mom. And Mom liked that. Mom was essentially lonely. She had no girlfriends since we moved into this new house. Our dad went into business and became a colleague of the neighbors' husbands. Thus, the wives began to get along with each other. Rich and very tactful. My mother always said that of them. Yes, we were rich too, but no amount of money in the world could find a doctor who would somehow help our Chloe. One day I came home early from school, and I noticed Chloe rummaging through the safe. I scolded her right away, and I told my folks everything. Dad and Mom counted the money, and there was about $5,000 missing. Dad and Mom were angry. They started asking her where the money was, but Chloe just cried, and all she said was that someone had taken it. Anyway, we couldn't get anything else out of her. Dad changed the code on the safe, and that was it. Out of despair, Mom told her friends in the neighborhood, and they advised us to call a pastor from the church to chase the demon out of Chloe. At first, we thought they were crazy, but then we called him. He read a prayer and sang, and nothing changed. Then we went to a psychic, and she said there was nothing supernatural about her. On the contrary, they called her conscious. Man, there are lies everywhere. It seems that nothing can really help her. Don't say that. It might help. Don't give up. When we got home, Chloe immediately ran to her room. I followed her and saw that she was sitting on the floor and drawing. Almost the whole room was littered with Aunt Gia's drawings. What are you, her biggest fan? Huh? Never mind, forget it. Why are you drawing so many pictures of Aunt Gia? Or did someone ask you to? Someone did. Who? Someone. Come on, Chloe, can't you ever have a normal conversation? She cried again and I walked out of her room. Then I made the firm decision that it was better for me not to talk to her at all. It was less effort anyway. From that moment on, I avoided her, all the time and everywhere. Chloe, you can't come in my room, get out. What's up? What do you want? Go. Oh, for once, I don't want to hear you, go. Why are you whining again? Don't embarrass me in front of my friends. She complained to our parents, but there was nothing they could do. Chloe kept embarrassing us in front of our guests by talking in 3 words. Mama, somebody, Mama. It was horrible. She would squat down, wrap her arms around her, and sway from side to side. You would think she was crazy, wouldn't you? I thought she was. The doctors didn't diagnose her that way, But they did find a developmental disorder. That's why no one took her seriously. And then she stopped talking. She withdrew into herself and stopped saying anything at all. I was relieved, to be honest. Everyone felt better, and my parents were no longer so nervous. They became more invested in me financially, buying, paying for additional training. It was convenient. Dad started making more money, then he bought some big firm. There were going to be big, good changes in our family. The day Dad was supposed to sign the contracts, he went into his office, opened the safe, and noticed it was empty. Where are the contents of the safe? Where are the documents? The stocks? The bonds? What happened? It's all gone. If I don't sign now, I'll lose everything. Okay, girls, come in here. What happened? Have you seen the documents? Somebody took them. It's clear that someone took them, but who? Somebody! You got it. We've already understood. Why are you mocking us? Chloe cried again and ran away. So my dad's contract was in jeopardy. He was nervous. Then he got a call from his business partner, Aunt Gia's husband. He said it was time for them to leave for a meeting to sign the contracts, but Dad couldn't say anything. The only thing he said was that he was going to lose everything. Mr. Morris, Aunt Gia's husband, came to our house. He had never been to our house before. We said hello, and then he went into my dad's office. Their door was ajar, so I watched from around the corner and listened to their conversation. Then Chloe walked by. She glanced into my dad's office out of the corner of her eye and made round eyes, and then started pointing her finger and yelling. Somebody! Calm down, what are you doing? Girls, be quiet, close the door. I wanted to close it, but my sister got hold of my hand and kept pointing. Somebody, she said. Then Dad and Mr. Morris came out. Chloe suddenly jumped onto his leg and started biting him. He freaked out, and we did too. Dad was trying to pull her off him, and I was pulling Mr. Morris's leg toward me. He was holding his briefcase in his hand. Suddenly, the bag flew out of his hand, opened up, and some documents spilled onto the floor. Dad and I started apologizing wildly. Mom grabbed Chloe and led her away. Mr. Morris said it was nothing serious and began quickly gathering up the papers. Then he said that he would put them away himself. Chloe broke out of my mother's hands and grabbed some papers and gave them to my father. Dad quickly read them and slowly looked up at Mr. Morris. Oh, you bastard. You've got me wrapped around your finger, haven't you? So it was you who stole the money. Did you steal all the documents? Your wife and her friends were distracting us while you went around our house, didn't you? My daughter Chloe saw you more than once, as it turns out. I'm gonna sue you, okay? Mr. Morris tried to say something in his defense, but Dad knocked him out with one punch, and then he called the police. We got the DVR from the car in the garage and figured out how he was sneaking into our house. Turns out he'd guessed the combination to the safe because he stalked us through the windows. Then he was arrested. Well, we apologized to Chloe for a long time afterward. Turns out she saw him there all the time, but she couldn't explain it, and we never believed her. I was constantly harassing her and calling her names, kicking her out, not wanting to admit that I had such a retarded sister. And all this went on for almost a year. What a horror. And who knows what could be next? Where would we be now if it were not for her? Mom was also ashamed for falling for the scam of the neighbors. But what can you do? Business is business. We are smarter now. We've installed cameras everywhere, and we only accept close relatives into our house. And of course, we've started talking to Chloe more. She's forgiven us, and she saved our whole fortune. Isn't she clever?
Tell me, have you ever noticed something strange in your body? I'm talking about the feelings that sometimes arise. The feeling that there is another person in you. I understand. Now it may sound like nonsense, but it's the real truth. And we are not talking about a split personality. Everything is much more sincere. In general, listen, watch, and you will understand everything. Just do not forget to like the video, write comments, and subscribe to our channel. My name is Shia. I grew up in a house full of love, tenderness, and care. My parents always carried me in their arms, and I could feel it. I was safe, warm, and comfortable, but sometimes I wondered why my mom and dad were so protective of me. Well, when I was little, it didn't hurt. The problems came later, when I was 13 years old. I remember my friend Tina invited me to a housewarming party at home. She gathered all the girls, and I would really like to have been there too. I came home, did my homework as soon as possible, and then went to my mother and asked to visit. It was the first party in my life without my parents, and my mother was very excited. She first said a short no and then threw questions at who would be there, what we were going to do there, what we would eat, drink, everything to the smallest detail. I was so angry. I said, "Mom, I've grown up. How much control can you have over my life? Why don't you let me go anywhere? Why haven't I gone anywhere without you yet?" It was true. All my girlfriends have already been somewhere many times. They had some kind of personal life, and why didn't I have the right to do this too? I thought it was fair to take a break sometimes because I was already sitting at home, studying hard, and I only had good grades. To a lot of my questions, my mother only said that she would not let me in, and that was all, without any explanation. I went into my room and started crying. I don't know how long I lay on the bed, and when I calmed down, sat down in the boudoir in front of the mirror and wiped my tears with a tissue. At the moment when I looked at my face, I suddenly thought that I was seeing not myself, but another person. I even got scared, closed my eyes, wiped them, and opened them again, and then I saw myself again. I sat there for a while, thinking that I was imagining things because of the stress. I didn't talk to my parents for a couple of days, and then I forgot everything, but they didn't even let me go for a walk. After a while, I started having nightmares. I kept dreaming about the girl. She looked something like me, but it was the first time I'd seen her. I think her name was Larrett. She was older, taller than me, but we had the same hair color. In my dreams, she often came to me in a white dress, invited me to sit next to her. She didn't talk much, but at the end of each dream, I saw her die. It was terrible. She was so sick, and every dream I ran to help her, but not in time. Mom says I used to scream at night, but I don't remember it. I had bad dreams for 2 weeks, and then something happened at breakfast, and I sat down at the table as usual, and then I got up and poured myself a cup of coffee with cream, made toast, made eggs, and boiled sausages. All this I did as if in a fog. It wasn't like me at all. Usually, I don't eat breakfast, and I never drink coffee, much less eat fried food. But I managed to eat breakfast as quickly as if I was hungry. My parents watched me the whole time, and then they asked me what was going on. And when I finished the last piece of toast, I realized that I had eaten very well. At this moment, I seemed to wake up, looked at my mother in a frightened way, and asked, "Did I eat right now?" My mother turned pale, and she and my father exchanged glances. My father said I never eat breakfast or drink coffee, but why did I want it so badly now? I packed up and went to school. On the way home after school, my feet wandered me somewhere in the park. I didn't know this place existed before, but I went to it like I was hanging out there every day. I sat there alone and felt warm. Then I went home, dropped my bag on the doorstep, and went to the bathroom. My mother came to pick me up, and she tripped over my bag and called out to me, but I didn't answer, so she went to the bathroom and found me there. I was singing a song about a dream. I had only heard it in my dreams before. That girl used to sing it to me all the time. Mom started banging on the door, and I opened it and went back to the bathroom. "Since when do you throw your bag on the doorstep and take a bath?" my mother asked. I just said I wanted to, that's all, and then continued to sing. And then my mother began to cry. "Mom, what's wrong? Why are you crying?" I asked her, but she was crying so hard she couldn't calm down. I got out of the tub, put on a robe, and walked over to her. "Is everything okay, Mom?" This question did not bother her at all. "You never called me that," she said, and ran into the bedroom. I came into my room, sat down in front of the mirror again, and hummed a song, then looked at my face and realized that it had changed a little. And in general, some strange, inexplicable things were happening in me. And the more things happened, the more something new appeared in me. I didn't tell anyone about it. I thought maybe I'm just growing up this way. I went to bed, and the next morning I went to school without breakfast. After class, I returned home as before and sat down for lessons. The next day, I was eating sausage and eggs again, and after school, I went to the park alone. It seemed to me that I was going crazy. The nightmares were frequent. That girl Larrett in a white dress still came to me. Every time I tried to ask her who she was, she disappeared or started to get sick. I tried to save her, but I couldn't. And so, 2 months later, I wanted to wake up again and go to school, but I felt a sharp pain in my head. I couldn't even open my eyes. Then I wanted to get up, and somehow I took 2 steps, fell to the floor, and felt sick. Mom! Dad! I called to them as much as I could, but no one came. And then I passed out. In fragments, I remember how my mother was crying and the doctors were standing next to me. I heard my father's loud voice. "We can't lose her!" And then I closed my eyes and fell asleep. "Hey, you all ready? It's too early for you. Say hi to Mom and Dad," Lyrit said to me in a dream. I tried to catch up with her, but no matter how much I ran, I didn't get any closer. I shouted at her, asked her to tell me who she was, and she said so quietly and calmly that it wasn't time for me yet, that I had to go back. A flash of light, and I opened my eyes and breathed. "Thank God!" my mother shouted. I felt a sharp pain in my chest. I was given artificial respiration. When I finally came to my senses, the doctor said that everything would be fine. I got an IV, drank some water, and fell asleep again. I was discharged a few days later. As my mother told me, she found me lying unconscious on the floor. I was not breathing. The doctors did an examination and said that I was healthy, but no one understood what happened to me. When I got home, my mom made dinner and we sat down at the table. And I said, "Lyrit said hi." At that moment, my father's appliances fell out of his hands and my mother choked. They asked me how I knew her, and I told them about my dreams and how I had seen her in the mirror. My mother burst into tears, and I realized that she was close to them. But how exactly? "This is our daughter, your sister. She died of illness when she was 13, and then we had you. I didn't know yet, but it turns out I got pregnant with you when she was gone," my mother told me later, and I understood everything. I guess she was trying to tell me about it, that we were sisters, and I didn't understand. That's why I saw her so often. She told me it wasn't time yet and made me wake up in the hospital. I said. My father hugged me. I asked why they never told me about it, but my dad said that they didn't want to talk about it. They were trying to move on. My mom pulled out her photos and I framed them, then brought them to my room. Now I think she is my guardian angel, and may her soul live in me forever. It warms me and protects me. What do you guys say? Have you seen any souls? What was it like?